Hey there, guys. Coming to you live again with Robert Kiyosaki, author of Rich Dad Poor Dad, as he talks about what's going on with our current monetary policy, why money's fake. In fact, he promotes his new book, Fake, which I'll also put a link down to in the description down below. But Robert talks about everything that's been going on right now, from the Fed to the Treasury, how they create money out of thin air, basically what a dollar is, what it can buy you and what it can't buy you. Also, too, what an asset is. Most of you know Robert Kiyosaki, obviously the famous author, sold millions and millions of copies of Rich Dad Poor Dad. Also a very smart individual who talks to a lot of people that are also extremely well versed when it comes to the monetary system, what's going to happen in the next couple of years, and how we can take advantage of that. So let's get right into Robert's video blog, and he's coming to you live from his house. Pretty cool. He talks about all of his Twitter followers that are blowing up his Twitter account right now, and let's get right back into it, and then we'll see what happens at the end.
The economy is crashing and people have lost their jobs and people are sitting at home and wondering what's going to happen to the new economy. Suddenly, my Twitter account, I have like responses like 5,000, 6,000, 1,000, 3,000. Before it was 50. I don't have that many friends. So what Sarah, our publicist here, decided to do is, can I go more into some of the tweets, that's what they call tweets, because Twitter is only, I think, 240 characters. So if I could just go into some of the more popular ones. One of the tweets was that, why is the dollar dying? Again, let me go to this here. These are the 5 M's that Grunch, Gross Universal Cash Ice, which I read in 1983, talked about how they control the world. Grunch, Gross Universal Cash Ice. So one is the mind, which is our education system, money, financials, military, which I went to military school, media, fake news, and medicine, vaccines. So anyway, I'm pretty good on the money side. So why is the dollar dying? Well, because the dollar is fake. It doesn't exist. It's only a figment of your imagination. So you think it's a dollar bill or whatever it is? It's not. That's why there's no financial education in school. What does school teach about money except to work for it and to save it and pay taxes? And that's the key. You see, money doesn't exist because all it really is, and I won't show you my number, but this here is a credit card. I was warned not to put my credit card on screen because somebody will zoom in on it. So anyway, there's no money in here. This is credit. And credit means nothing. It just says you have the opportunity to create debt. So there's credit and there's debt, and the next magical word is tax. So if you understand that it's credit, debt, and taxes, that's what makes up money. So it's called fiat currency. And the reason I call it fake money is fiat currency is government money. It's made and printed by your government. So it could be America, it could be Japan, it could be Europe, it could be Mexico. It's just made up. It doesn't exist. It's an IOU. So it'd be like me saying, hey, here's an IOU from me. I owe you this money. Then you say, oh, thank you. Then you run off and you give this, and the money expands because you hand this IOU around. That's the system. It expands and expands and expands. The problem is not in the banking system, it's in the shadow banking system. The shadow banking system is the real system. And in September 2019, or almost 6 months ago, whatever, the shadow banking system went broke. So the Fed now had to bail out the shadow banks. So the reason I said the dollar is dying is because in 2008, the Fed had to print 4.5 trillion to save the 2008 crisis. because there's no money there. It's all IOUs. It's like your brother-in-law owing you money, but you promised it to your buddy down the street, and your buddy down the street wants the money, so you call your brother-in-law, he ain't got any money. That's what's happening. It's like what I wrote in Twitter. I said, it's like you flush the toilet and it doesn't go down, it backs up on you. So this whole system of money, whatever that stuff is now backing up in the Fed system. So they have to print more and more of it. So in 2008, they printed approximately 4.5 trillion. Then in 2020, the estimates are, so that was to save the rich. 4.5 trillion in 2008 was only for, I made so much money in 2008. It was incredible. Thank you. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Fed. But I know the system. So then in 2020, the estimate is going to be 6 to 8 to 10 trillion. Twice as much money. That's why the dollar is dying. Because the purchasing power of the dollar goes down the more they print. And some people say this started in 1971, and that's true. In the modern system, it started in 1971. But from the dawn of time, for thousands of years, governments have printed money. That's what the Romans did back in 1,000 years ago. They got a coin made out of silver, and they would shave the edge of it, and so the coin got smaller. When they realized the coin was getting smaller, they took the silver and they put base metals. That's why it's called debasing. They put nickel and whatever they put inside that thing. So that's why when you hold up your US currency, it's got that copper edge to it. That's debased money. The US did the same thing back in 1964. So it's the way government and bank and the financial system, or grunge, as we call it, or Bucky called them, they keep messing with us via our money. So I hate to tell you that. So that's why I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad is lesson number 1, which most people miss. The rich don't work for money. And I also said savers are losers. That's like, when I tell people I don't save money, they go, "Oh, are you crazy? Are you crazy? You should save money. Save money." Well, it's not money, it's fake. Fake money. Huh? And we can only have fake money if we have fake teachers. My poor dad knew nothing about money, but he was telling me to work hard for it. But my rich dad said, the harder you work for money, the more tax you're going to pay. See, that's the system. Money can only come into existence as long as you and I pay tax. So fake money is money you pay taxes with. You cannot pay your taxes with a duck or a chicken or Bitcoin or gold. You have to pay your taxes with fake money. That's the system. So that's why lesson number 1 in Rich Dad, Poor Dad is don't work for money. Instead, what I do is I use my own assets. I make up my own money. The government or Wall Street sells you fake assets. They're called 401ks. They're called stocks, bonds, mutual funds. They just make them up. So if they can do that, why can't you? So, many of you have read one of my best assets. It's called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I wrote that book 25 years ago, and I still make about $1 million a year from it without working. So the money comes in. I don't save that money. I just buy gold and silver. See, real money is gold and silver because it's God's money. Bitcoin is people's money. It's open source system. And the reason I recommend Bitcoin is because it gets me out of grunge. So I don't have to go through the Fed. And Bitcoin just bypasses all those guys. And every time the Fed prints more money, which they're doing today, gold and silver generally get more valuable because there's more dollars and there's less gold and silver. So there's God's money, gold and silver, and people's money, Bitcoin, Ethereum, blockchain, and all that. They bypass the system. So I'm not saying one is right or wrong. You can save the dollar, you can save pesos, you can save euro. It's up to you. But as long as the government is going to print possibly $6 to $8 trillion, maybe 10 trillion in the next 10 years, why would you save it? You can see what they're doing today. You can see what Grunch is doing. And you can see the fake assets are being sold to you by fake teachers. And most fake teachers, they're called brokers. Stock brokers, real estate brokers, financial planners, insurance brokers. They all work for Grunch. They work for the insurance companies. They work for Wall Street. They work for those guys. And they got to earn a living. They got to eat too. But my rich dad always said to me, he says, the reason they call it stockbroker or real estate broker is because they're broker than you are. And he says, if you ask a broker, what should I invest in? Asking a broker or a financial planner, what should I invest in? It's like asking a cannibal, what's for dinner? You're a dinner.
I absolutely love Robert Kiyosaki, and his anecdotes hit the nail right on the head. He is a great guy. He comes from a place of contribution too, and he's always trying to educate and get people a little bit smarter. So I really respect his ability to go out there and be able to teach what it is that he's been taught and be able to hopefully impart a little bit of knowledge. I love the fact that he goes over real estate brokers and stock brokers. It means they're broker than you are. You shouldn't listen to anybody except for yourself. Also, too, he goes into Bitcoin and Ethereum a little bit. Then he goes on to gold and, what are you going to hold? Obviously, taxes are paid in dollars, and therefore we've got to have dollar bills. We've got to have some cash in our account, and that's why fiat money is worth things to people. But at some point, the Fed is going to print way too much. If that's $10 trillion, if that's $20 trillion, whatever that number is, at some point, the dollar is going to be devalued, and we all have to be ready for that. So leave a comment in the section down below. Please like and subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you again soon.